Hey guys, so I'm back with CK3, and today I'm going to try to do something a little bit different. So, I haven't actually seen CK3 without DLCs since CK3 has had DLCs, and I just really want to see the difference between the AI playing, between no DLC and DLC. And I'm just going to record and see what happens, you know? I really don't know how different these worlds are going to be in 1453. So predictions, I really don't have any predictions. Like, what specific DLCs came out for nations? There's one for the Vikings, Iberia, and that's really it. So I'm probably also going to put something on the top of the screen here where it says DLCs, no DLCs, just so you guys don't get confused. But yeah, let's go 100 years in the future and see what happens. Well, that's unfortunate. I accidentally went over. So, here's a map with no DLC. Things are definitely interesting. Francia was huge, but they fell apart. The borders are kind of hideous here, where Lotharingia owns Normandy, and Germany owns... Jeez, Flanders? Yeah, Flanders. I noticed that the Vikings were super weak, and they're basically gone from the Isles already, which usually takes around 200 years-ish. Sweden's pretty big. This is absolutely hideous and is cursed in every way possible. He's doing okay. The Arabian Empire is massive. Looking at religions, Apostolic is doing good somehow. And so is Orthodoxy. It's already pushing into the steppes over here. Other than that, nothing's too interesting. So let's go see what it's like with all DLCs now. And here's the world with all DLCs. This is turning out to be a much less interesting game than the no DLC game. Lotharingia is pretty big. They're attacking the Pope for Rome. That's nice of them. Aquitaine is there. West Francia is there. England is there. And there's no more Vikings in the Isles. Scotland is there. And it's actually ruled by a Scottish ruler, which usually doesn't happen. Usually it's like Gaelic or Anglo-Saxon. So that's cool. Everyone over here is Catholic, basically, besides the Baltic guys in this part of Norway. This nation here is ruled by the Hungarian guys. I guess they didn't migrate for some reason. I don't know why they didn't, but okay. The Byzantines are there, and they're not impressive. The Arabian Empire isn't too impressive either this game. They've taken, like, I don't know, 10 provinces max. Actually, including this area, maybe like 25-ish. Egypt is doing what they usually do, and doing nothing at all. Nobody stands out in Persia. In India, he stands out a little bit, but she's dying. This is kind of strange. Usually it's the other way around, where the Persian guys go into Pakistan, but Pakistan is now going into Persia. That's cool. Looking at religions again, things are kind of average. Catholics are obviously dominating Europe. Somehow Khazaria converted to a Sharism, and they still have their like main dynasty in power. I don't know how they managed to pull that off. Other than that, in religions, nothing stands out too much besides Reformed by Deism, and Coptic is pushing in to Western Africa. I'm actually kind of surprised how good Coptic's doing. They usually never do that good. And it's definitely impressive that Bidaic is doing that well. That's pretty cool, man. But yeah, let's go back to the no DLC world. Alright, it's 11:07, and the world has changed a little bit. The most obvious change is the Abbasids, who are massive. They are huge, man. Almost 60k troops, and it's not even been that long. The Byzantines have expanded a little bit into southern Italy here and over here. West Francia is doing okay. England is doing okay. Everyone in the Isles is doing okay, actually. Ghana's doing decent. Sweden's there, and they're Estonian. Khazaria's there, and they're Apostolic. That's cool. Let's look at that. So, somehow Apostolic has taken over the steppes. This area over here is occupied by Bogomolist. Orthodoxy is actually doing pretty decent. They did lose the steppes, but they have gained pretty nice territories in Europe, though. Other than that, a huge portion of Asharism has spread into India and Western Africa here. Nothing's interesting with cultures yet, at least that I can see. So, yeah. Let's go to the version with all DLCs now. So it's 11:05 in the all DLC world, and things have changed a little bit. The Byzantines are expanding a lot more into southern Italy here, and they're like surrounding the Pope. The Arabian Empire has done nothing basically since we last saw them. The Egyptians decided to do something, and they took the coast of northern Africa and made it their main kingdom for some reason. West Frank and Aquitaine are still split apart, and they're hideous. There's a separate kingdom of Wessex and a separate kingdom of England, which is pretty normal nowadays. Scotland is still there, and they're expanding their culture a lot. Look at that, that's crazy. For some reason, Sweden is apostolic. Okay. Palabia is hideous with their borders. Look at that, that's gross. Here's a new kingdom. Khazaria is falling apart. I'd be surprised if they last 10 more years. There was a pretty big Persian nation that popped up here, but they're gone. Looking at religions, things haven't changed too much. They've just kind of consolidated like in Africa here. I'd say Africa is the most interesting place to look at religions on the map right now. Badaic has expanded a lot, and they're basically Western Africa. Coptic has expanded too. Orthodox is doing pretty good. Like I said, Apostolic is there in Sweden and Norway, and somehow in Iceland too. Good for them. So yeah, I think I'm going to go until the Mongol spawn for both the all DLCs and the no DLCs world, so let's see what happens. Alright, it's 12:07, and in the no DLC world, the Mongols have spawned. They're just starting out, so it's impossible to tell how good they're going to do. Looking, the Arabian Empire collapsed, which is very unfortunate for them, because they might not survive the onslaught of the Mongols. The Byzantines are doing amazing. Look at them. They're also this house here, which... What house is that? Isn't that the Tuscan house? I'm pretty sure that's the Tuscan house. Apparently the dynasty that was on Tuscany is on both the Byzantine and the Jerusalem throne. Mali's doing pretty good. Iberia, he's the biggest. France is still a mess. They're probably going to be a mess the entire game at this point. Sweden is massive, but they're weak. There's a one province kingdom over here with a really cool house flag. That's sweet. I've never seen this little logo here for it. Germany, Vladimir, this random nation, is huge. And he's a part of this faith that has like 5 provinces that start out. This guy here dominates the Stan area over here. And in India, nobody still stands out. Let's go see what's happening in the all DLC world now. It's 12:08 in the all DLC world, and the Mongols are here, and they're Catholic. The Mongols are here and they're Catholic. Okay, whatever. We'll talk about this in a minute. Anyways, I can't believe that's happening right now. Kanim Bornu owns Sicily? What's happened here? This Arabian Empire is doing pretty good, and they're expanding. Abyssinia's there. Adjarana's there, and he's not as huge. Kanim Bornu owns Sicily, like I said, for some reason. None of the Badaic guys stand out over here anymore, which is kind of sad. This Iberian nation's doing pretty good, and they're an empire. Iberia took the decision where everyone gets an empire title, which is lame, but it is what it is. Wessex is now insular. The Baltic Empire's there, and it's owned by a Pomeranian. This kingdom is still there doing pretty good. Bavaria is doing okay. Here's a rump state of Khazaria. Looking at religions though, everybody over on this side of the world has basically remained unchanged. Besides Iberia, who's split in half. And there's for some reason a Buddhist province in Switzerland. There's also a huge blob of Hindu in the Middle East now, somehow. I don't know how this happened. Maybe like a stress event, and they broke, and then everybody's turned Catholic. It's possible that the Mongols could join a crusade in this world. That's crazy. I guess I'll go back to the no DLC world, but honestly, I really want to see what happens in this world, because it's much more interesting right now. But yeah, let's go back to no DLC. The Mongols are gone, and I gotta say, I'm kind of disappointed. They did a ton in like 30 years, but they just stopped. So looking at the world, Mali's pretty big now. He lost a few provinces to this random nation. The Sultanate of Ashari Ali. That's probably a peasant kingdom there. Castile's doing good, but they're owned by the Sunnis. France is here, and they're owned by a Greek dynasty, or actually a Middle Eastern dynasty. I'm pretty sure. No, it has to be a Greek one. Apparently that one peasant kingdom that existed owned the Kingdom of Germany as a crusader. That kind of sucks. I miss that. That little peasant kingdom here doesn't exist anymore, by the way. All the hordes over here are Manichaean, except the Golden Horde, which is apostolic for some reason. Arabia is owned by the Muslims. They took that back. The religious map mode shows just how powerful apostolic is. I won't even doubt if apostolic has around the same amount of provinces that Orthodoxy has. They are huge. And they also gain provinces over here. The Muslims are still pushing into Tibet and India. Let's go see what's going to happen in the all DLC world now. Like I was thinking, the all DLC Mongol Empire turned out A, a lot better, and B, a lot more interesting. Looking at them, they are all Catholic, which I'll show you in a minute could be extremely interesting. But anyways, out of all these three, is Chagatai? No. The Ilkhanate is still the strongest, just by 100 troops. I don't think the Ilkhanate's gonna last that long, sadly. I really want them to. He's still doing good. Kanim Bornu still owns Sicily. The Golden Horde owns this piece of Italy for some reason. Honestly, there's nothing that's really changed because it took like 19 years for him to fall apart. I'm not going to go into extreme detail, but looking at the religious map, you can definitely see the effects that the Mongol Empire had on the world. If the Ilkhanate's able to hold on to this land, almost the entire world will just be Catholic. Let's go back to no DLCs and see what happens until, I don't know, 1353 maybe. You know what? Never mind. Let's just go to a 1453 actually. Here's the end of the no DLC world. Things have obviously changed quite a bit. The biggest one is being Mali. Mali just ballooned out of nowhere into this massive empire that stretches from the very bottom left of the map all the way up here, which is pretty crazy. He's about to lose all these people though, if I'm willing to bet. Yeah, he's screwed. There's no chance he wins that war. France has been an extreme disappointment in both worlds so far. England is owned by the Mercia dynasty. Nobody in the middle of Europe really stands out. I'll just quickly click on them for people who actually want to see them, but Sweden still has that dynasty. The Byzantines are freaking massive, and they look pretty good. Usually they look pretty hideous, and they just go like, they take Crimea, and then they just go in a straight line up here, and it's absolutely disgusting, but it's bearable in this world. This empire is probably the biggest empire in terms of troops on the entire map. His borders are hideous. In religions, everything that I said would happen with the Mongols happened, where they didn't really change anything in the world. Maybe a few provinces religiously with both apostolic or Manichaean, but it's not that big of a deal. I'll actually look right now and see. Okay, so counties. So Asharism is number 1. Catholic is 2. Orthodoxy is 3. Apostolic is 4. And Yapania is the 5th one. Cultures, nothing's too interesting in this world. So yeah, let's go back to the all DLCs world and see what happens over there. So, things kind of turned out a little bit different than I thought they would. Obviously, he's freaking massive, and he's going for more. Jesus. I don't know how he ballooned like this. 300 counties. That's pretty crazy. Ghana's doing pretty good too. Look at them. Their borders are hideous though, by the way. Look at that. Egypt is doing okay. There's a formed Kingdom of Naples, which is the first time I've ever seen something like this. This is sweet, man. I've never seen Naples formed. Germany's Dutch. This one Polish nation, or kingdom that formed, is huge. Look at them. Actually, it's an empire now. Khazaria is reborn, and they're massive. He's doing okay. He's doing okay. This Indian nation's doing amazing, too. Looking at religions, this has got to be the biggest shock of the video, that Asharism has done this well. Especially in this world, where I honestly thought that Asharism would have been in a few splotches in like Iberia or Morocco or down here, but they've just ballooned. They're probably the biggest religion right now. Apostolic somehow survived the whole game. Same with insular Christianity. Everyone's still Catholic over here. The Hindu guys are still over here too. Same with Coptics and Bidaics. Looking at cultures, Anglo-Nordic dominates England. The Scots dominate Scotland. France is an absolute hideous mess. Brethono, Norse, Anglo-Saxon. Nice. In empires, we have a ton of new empires, actually. I'm pretty sure this one's a new one. New empire there. Here, obviously. Here. This empire expanded. So yeah. This was a pretty fun video to make, honestly. So, if you guys want to see another video like this, just let me know. And thank you for watching.